All right, hello everyone. Welcome to. oh, There's my toolbar. Sorry. Welcome to this video. The objective here is that students will be able to solve real-world problems by creating linear equations. In the last video, we created the linear equations, but we didn't use them for anything. And so this video, we're going to use them to actually solve some real-world scenarios. Let's take a look at example 1 here. It says Mr. Golden's hair is already 10 inches long. Let's see. Nice flowing hair. Grows at a rate of 4 inches per month. Create an equation that represents the relationship between the length of his hair, L, and the amount of months passed, M. Then we have a follow-up question down here. But first, let's create the equation. It's kind of a review from our last lesson. We've been using y equals mx plus b because for this unit right now, we're only creating linear equations. And so my first step is to determine where do I begin? Mr. Golden's hair is already 10 inches long. Well, I begin with positive 10. Begin with positive 10. That's where my hair length begins, at least in this story. And it grows at a rate of 4 inches per month. I can write that algebraically. If I think about it, and I said, how many inches has his hair grown in 3 months? Well, you'd do 4 times 3. If I said, how many inches has it grown in 7 months? Well, you do 4 times 7. Each time you're multiplying 4 by the amount of months. All right, so I can write that algebraically simply as 4m. Oh, that's a bad m. All right, 4m. 4 times the amount of months. That's what this means. This number next to a variable is a coefficient. This means multiplication. 4 times m. 4 times the amount of months. All of this is equal to the length of my hair. All right? The length of my hair is equal to 4 times the amount of months plus 10. And I actually think these equations start to make even more sense when we start to use them. So that's why I'm excited about this video. So let's use this one. It says, how long will this hair be after 4 months? So I'm going to reuse my equation here. I'm going to write L equals 4. But instead of writing an M for months, I'm going to fill in a 4, multiply by 4. The reason I replace the M with a 4 is that the M right here is no longer an unknown, right? In the equation, we don't know how many months have passed. So we just use a variable. A variable is just an unknown number. We don't know how many months have passed. But now it's telling me 4 months have passed. So the 4 is going to replace the M for months. So I'm going to finish the equation. And now we can figure out the length of my hair, L. L represents the length of my hair by just with some simple math. 4 times 4 is 16. The plus 10 comes down. 16 plus 10 is 26. The length of my hair after 4 months is 26 inches. All right, and this makes sense, right? I asked you, if I didn't ask you to create the equation at all, I think you could have still done this. I said, Mr. Golden's hair is 10 inches. After 4 months, if it grows at 4 inches per month, how long is it? You would have done 4 times 4, and you would have added 10. You would have got 26. Creating the equations will let us solve more complicated questions in the future. So let's clear this. Let's go to the first udo. Remember, on the udos, you need to pause and solve on your own. So go ahead and pause and solve on your own. Okay, hopefully you're unpausing because you solved. Again, on the udos, I'll go over them kind of quickly. Y equals mx plus b. And so hopefully you write that equation right away. The population of a small town is currently 500 people. Currently 500 people. It's beginning at positive 500. B for beginning. I write positive 500 right underneath. Each year, the population of the town increases by 8. Every year, it increases by 8. If I said, well, what's the population of the town after 7 years? You'd have to do 8 times 7 to figure that out. And so we're always multiplying 8 times the amount of years. And so I can write that algebraically as 8y. 8 times y. That's what this means, 8 times y. So 8 times the amount of years, because y represents an unknown amount of years. And the last thing I haven't used is this P for population. So what this equation is saying is that the population of this town is equal to 8 times the amount of years plus 500. So now I can use this equation. What will be the population of the town after 6 years? Well, I'm going to reuse my equation. P equals 8. And I'm given that it's been 6 years, so I don't need to use an unknown y anymore. I can plug in a 6. Finish writing the equation. And now I can solve. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 500 is 548. So the population of this town after 6 years will be 548. All right, and hopefully that makes sense. If it didn't, maybe rewind. Check it out again. Make sure you understand. All right. Let's go to example 2 here. Get a little bit more difficult. Alejandro has $400. He works a job earning $8 per hour. Create an equation that represents the relationship between his hours worked, H, and his total money, $sign. So let's go over this. We're going to move a little faster now because hopefully this is starting to click. We're going to start by writing our equation, y equals mx plus b. Alejandro already has $400, so I know he's beginning at 400, positive 400. He earns $8 per hour. Every hour he works, he gets $8. So if I said, how much money does he earn in 5 hours? You do 8 times 5. If I said, how much money does he earn in 4 hours? You do 8 times 4. Each time you're multiplying 8 times the amount of hours. And here, we're using the variable h to represent the amount of hours. So I can write this as 8h is equal to Alejandro's total money. And so now I have my equation. Alejandro's total money equals 8 times the amount of hours he's worked plus the 400 he started with. And so now let's use that to solve a real-world equation here at the bottom. He's saving for a TV that costs $616. How many hours does he need to work before he will have enough money to buy it? I'm going to write up here a little bit so I have enough space. But this time it's a little bit different. I'm not given the amount of hours, so I can't plug this 616 into H. H stands for hours. This is not in hours. This is money, right? And so I need to plug money into the $sign. And so I'm going to do that. 616 equals 8h plus 400. It makes sense that h is my variable still. It's an unknown number. I don't know it. The question says how many hours. That's my job to figure out. I don't know. If we remember that variables are unknown numbers, it keeps us grounded in what we're doing. So now I just have to actually solve this equation to figure out how many hours he needs to work. I'm going to solve this two-step equation. I'm going to subtract 400 on each side. These cancel. 616 minus 400 is 216 equals, I didn't use this 8h, so I drop it straight down. 8 times h, this is what this means. We need to know the coefficients mean multiplication over and over and over again. Divide each side by 8 to undo the multiplication. These cancel. 216 divided by 8 is 27. Use a calculator if you need to. So he needs to work 27 hours. After 27 hours, making $8 per hour and starting with $400, he'll have $616, which is how much he needs to afford the TV. All right. I want you to go ahead and pause the video and try this you do on your own. Okay, hopefully you are unpausing and you are you've already solved the question. I'm going to go over it quickly since you do. You start with y equals mx plus b. And our beginning, Lamar has 4 subscribers. He starts with 4 subscribers on his YouTube channel. So I'm going to start with a positive 4 here. He gains 5 followers per month. We can show that algebraically as 5m, right? 5 times the amount of months. And so all of this equals his total subscribers. Make sure you have your variables in the right place. The S should be here and the M should be here because we're multiplying 5 times the amount of months. It wouldn't make sense to multiply 5 times his total subscribers. It doesn't make sense. So think about, don't just follow a process. Think about if your math makes sense. You can never memorize all the math in the world, but if you get smart with numbers, you can absolutely do any question. I think I might be blocking it here a little bit, so I'm going to move this up. So it says how many months will it take for Lamar to have 39 subscribers? So we can solve this. Again, I'm going to kind of write over top here. I'm going to replicate my equation, but this time the subscribers is not unknown to me. It tells me 39 subscribers. So I can plug in a 39 for S. It's not an unknown anymore. All right, so I can plug in the number. Equals 5. Now the amount of months is still an unknown. It says how many months. I had to figure that out. So I'm going to keep the M as a variable plus 4. All right. And so now that I've created the equation, I need to solve it, right? And so this is how our math skills are always building on top of each other. You have to be able to solve equations to be successful in this unit. So I'm going to subtract 4 from each side. These cancel. 39 minus 4 is 35 equals 5m. Divide each side by 5. I'm going quickly because you should know how to solve equations. 35 divided by 5. M is equal to 7. If you don't know how to solve equations, please go watch all my videos on solving equations. So it will take Lamar 7 months to reach 39 subscribers at this rate. All right, one more example in Udoo. They are a little bit different, and so this is really checking to make sure we understand what we're doing here. Not as much math here, just explaining. Joshua is saving money each week. The equation below represents the relationship between how many weeks have passed, W, so W stands for weeks, and his total money, M. M stands for total money. So we have the equation here. M equals 20W plus 200. If I want to, I could write, this is in Y equals MX plus B format. So I could write that on top if I wanted to. And so now I have some questions in here. What does the plus 200 mean? Well, so this equation about is how many weeks have gone by and how much money he has. But this plus 200 is in the beginning position, right? It's in the B beginning place. So I know that he's actually began with $200. I'm going to say he started with 200, right? That makes sense. He began with it. It's in the B place. There's a plus 200. Doesn't matter how many weeks he works. He has $200. Now the next part says how much money does he earn per week? Well, I'm going to go over here. Here, this part of the equation is multiplying 20 times the amount of weeks, right? That's what it's doing. 20. You can pretend there's a multiplication there. 20 times the amount of weeks. Well, that means he earns $20 a week, right? If he works 2 weeks, we do 20 times 2. That'd be 40. Works 3 weeks, we do 20 times 3, that'd be 60. So he makes $20 per week. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clear this out, and I want you to try the last Udoo on your own. So go ahead and pause, and we will continue in a second. Okay, the river's depth here is decreasing during a drought. The equation below represents a relationship between the depth of the river D and the weeks past W. So the depth of this river is equal to -5 times the amount of weeks plus 100. Please only watch this part if you already tried the Udoo on your own. You will not learn if you simply copy down what I write. Your brain learns the most when you try, you struggle through something. All right, so the first part says, what does the plus 100 represent in this equation? Well, we can see here that the plus 100 is in the beginning position of B, right? And no matter how many weeks he's worked, he has $100. Or sorry, not $100. This is not about money. No matter how many weeks have gone by, the height of this river would have been 100 to start. And so this is the starting or beginning depth. Sorry about this sloppy handwriting. The starting depth of the river. Okay. This is the starting depth of the river. It starts at 100. It B begins. All right. This number off by itself. It doesn't have any coefficient. We're not multiplying it by anything. Simply, that's where it starts. Here I have this next part, the -5W. It says, what does the -5W represent? Well, this takes a little bit of understanding. W stands for weeks. I have this -5. So this -5, which is very important that it's negative, means it's going down by 5. It didn't give us a unit here, so let's just say feet. down by 5 feet per week. Down, right, because negative, by 5 feet per week. So I'm not even going to write that out. You can write it down on your own. The negative 5W just means the river is going down 5 feet per week. All right, and so that is the end of our video here. We'll pick it up tomorrow with some graphing equations or in the next video. Thanks for watching, and always find me if you have any questions.